Myself the grace for like what I thought I wanted to do today. We may or may not do today. As we welcome you here to Integration Nation of Throat. And let's set our Jed first today because I found that that is part of my sanity right now. Is like I need to do that on a daily basis. If nothing else, I'm spending about 15 minutes there. So, hello. Cool. So in this setting of your Jed, just finding the stability in the center within body. And doing some breath with it to get the second moving. As we come into root, setting that golden cube. Letting it hold. Resting upon that, the Ganusa. Centered there within the Jed, centered directly on top. Whoa, hey, as we come up into that Ket triangle, setting the Maum. And the rising force of that Sa. Setting heart. Oh, that's funny. The energy wants to go right up to crown. Don't let it. Just come up to throat now. Centering anything or stabilizing. Ooh. And I'll start by telling you what I was reading this morning that was helping me from Nadia, which is as she was going through throat and getting ready for third eye, she was evicted from her home. Her computer broke. She lost something and she was sick. So as I have looked at my past couple of weeks, I'm like, oh, if Nadia was still fucked up by this, it's okay. So I've been very good at compassion for other, but not so much for self. That's felt very hard to me. As Nadia says, the throat... fucking communication. The function of the throat is to take us out of convenience and into actuality. And I read that, I'm like, okay, I get that. And here's where it starts getting tricky, which is what we think order is, like the chaos, right? We don't want the chaos. Chaos is too much. I want the order. But the order is really just your convenience. Cool. So we've been thrown into some chaos. I would expect that I may not be the only one. Nadia's exact words in throat: lost consciousness for several days, nonverbal, couldn't think. Anybody else have that going on? And even like this today, right? Like, thanks. And I also want to thank you. I love you. In the past, I would have felt tremendously embarrassed and really stressed. And today, all I can do is laugh. Like, this is way beyond me right now. Internet won't work. What the fuck? So, hey. Welcome to, let's say maybe the closing chapter of our initiation here in throat, that maybe we can move to something else that's maybe a little more gentle, maybe not. I also lost my dream journal during throat, where I'm like, can't even write down dreams right now. Okay. One more piece from Nadia, which I think is going to set the stage for what we're doing today, and then I'm shushing and I want to hear from y'all. Thanks. I really literally have my internet troubleshooter up on my phone that had to reset an internet connection from there. Great. throat initiation. The long forgotten wounds all begin to tell their story. The deeply buried frustrations, the wild heart that stands outside of culture and yearns for freedom from imposed order. The soul that has had to settle for sublimated fulfillment. The divine child that struggles with the pathos of bonding with an inert blanket instead of the living breast. So I can certainly say I have had inner child pieces that have been so worked up, I can't find fucking center. Can't calm a nervous system, can't come down from it. And like, as I'm in it, I'm like, holy shit, like I've got tools, I'm using my tools. Why aren't my tools like, with that, I'm done talking about me because I've been living it. I'd rather hear about you. Michelle, sound is messed up. Is everybody's sound messed up? Just checking. Motherfucker. Tell me what you're learning in throat, please, so that we can learn the lessons and continue the evolution.
I'll start. So what came in this morning was that the only thing that we have in common with everything is now. We're all now. And that's throat. The senses are all going through the throat because we have to experience them in the now. I don't know, that's what was coming in this morning when I was drinking my coffee in the sun. If that pings anyone.
And it is the now, like that's it. Was I telling
And
Robert?
sometimes the now requires patience, which is what this whole week's been about for me.
Wait, patience? What? I don't remember any fucking teachings on patience, FYI.
Like, I did. I was like standing in like the third really long line for no reason. And I was like, did I ask for patience this morning? And I forgot. And then I was like, you know what? Everything's going to get done unless I panic.
Well, okay. And let's
talk about relaxed.
Not just the now, but like the timeless. We're in the timeless. And so even as I look, I'm like, we're starting half an hour late. Well, not really, because we're in the timeless. And
my live on Facebook started at, I don't know. There was something wrong with my sound and I had to start over, and it's just been that kind of a week.
2 weeks.
Oh, right. Sure. Maybe we can just extend that and extend that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know that my life is weird right now. It seems like everybody's got a little extra going on right now. But I will say there's been like I'm waking up or something. So that's also like, so it's like, oh, I can feel the pain a little bit more today, but like in a good way. Not necessarily pain, I shouldn't just say pain, but like moments of joy have been peeking in. Yeah.
The discomfort is really up, and I can I'll just say for myself, like I'm navigating through it differently. I'm not as uncomfortable in the discomfort as I may have been before. And I'm also not as demanding on it because this is the initiation. This is the teaching. Hey, Max, glad you made it. Glad I made it, really. I guess that's where I'll start. Michelle, can you hear us now? Maybe a little bit better?
Apparently talking made me have pain, so I'm just gonna be over here massaging myself.
That's fair. The discomfort.
Also, that cat butt was just made my whole day. Wendy's cat butt. I'm so sorry. You were talking, Andy. You were totally in your thing, and there was just cat ass in the camera, and it was like
that's perfect.
My little child was so happy.
Well, and it's exactly that, right? It's the circle of the throat. It's right there. It's right there. It's the perfect. Mm-hmm. Sorry that I missed it.
It was also Wendy's face when it happened.
That's cute.
Priceless.
I did. I saw the cat butt on the screen and I just went.
Cute.
So everyone can see that. I could get it back for you if you want, Andy. If you missed it.
I'll catch the recording. It's good. Oh, or I could probably just like grab one. Speaking of cat butts, my cat's been sick for the last several days too. So that also just like, it rocks us a little bit when our familiars are, well, as Max very well knows, doesn't he? Yeah. And I find it fascinating, you guys, because in my non-planning of these initiatory spaces, we're doing throat and Gemini. Like, that's how the fuck this worked out? Yeah, of course we are. Of course we are. I can't hear you, Robin.
I said, can I speak?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is what we're, please.
Just so I missed the initiation because my timeline is all messed up, apparently. But what I've noticed is over the last couple of weeks, I haven't been able to process what people are saying to me, but also I haven't been able to like put any words down. And then yesterday I sat down and they just poured out.
I heard your words yesterday. They were fucking good when you got there.
When I finally got there, I'm like, oh my God, it was like a rock was stuck in my dam, and it broke loose. So that felt good. But then as I'm thinking about it, I thought, oh, I haven't been able to like even take in or understand because I'm watching all these videos for my art thing. I haven't been able to like take in what she's telling me, which makes you feel really stupid until you finally understand it, right? Or understand what's happening.
I sat with Nadia's stuff the other day. I literally made it through one page. And that's all I could get through all day was like a single page of trying to... Our Flag Means Death, if anybody hasn't watched it, like that's probably all you should be watching. Yeah. Our Flag Means Death. So think of What We Do in the Shadows for vampires. Our Flag Means Death, same creator, same idea. Pirates.
Can I share something else too?
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, as Robin was saying, like, when we're in this, there's nothing to do. You can't beat yourself up. You can't fix it. You can't move out of it. And I thank you. Like, as I hear it for you guys, I'm like, oh, fucking compassion. Like, I can have compassion for Robin. And, like, I sure as shit didn't have it for myself these last 2 weeks. Michael, distract me from my own tears again, please.
Okay. So sometimes I sit and I have like a streaming stuff and I'm like, what am I watching today? So I've really watched some really random things recently. And I watched The Truman Show. I don't think I watched it in the theater when it came out. Like it had been a minute. So so the last time we were in the throat in Dream School, which was what, a year and a half ago, whenever that was, who knows the time.
December 2020. Like,
sure.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. What? So yeah, I remember like we were going through the Shenkas during Dream School, and the heart for me is like that platform of the Maum, and then it just kind of goes out forever. Like it's the infinite, right? There's that weird infinite craziness there. And then the rest of the Shenkas build on that, right? So in the past, I used to see, it was almost like a tower, because you talk about, we did it again during the initiation, how there's like the narrowing, right? So how that presented last time was like a tower. So in the tower, there was like a well in the middle of it. And then that was like the disc, right? So this time I get up there And I'm in that room, and then suddenly there's a fucking Truman Show door. And I'm like, oh, none of this is real. And then I opened the door and it was just like void. So I was like, oh, yep.
Yeah. None of this is real.
Welcome to the throat.
Yeah. And then how do you fucking comprehend that? Or
Right, it's also like all of your senses live here, but also none of this is real. Like, okay.
well, and the isolation of that too, right? There's so luckily we have each other and we've been connecting hopefully in those ways, but nobody else can quite understand it around us at times. What I wanted to say in that regard of like the void and the door, because we talked about the birth of the shaman through the throat. And I just want to expand on that idea a little bit because I think when Nadia was teaching this, shamanism wasn't known or talked about, right? When it was really deep mysteries that she was teaching. Now we're in an era where what we do is cool and popular. Huh. So, in order to be true shaman of this era, we've got to go beyond what is popular and cool. Those things don't hold any mystery for us because they're now known. So further isolating in that way, but it's the idea of the iconoclast. The iconoclast is the one who changes the world because we dream beyond it. I was working with a client yesterday who should have been here in dream school with us, and I only say that because, yeah, whatever. But yesterday we were working together, and we got to Neath. And as soon as we got to Neath and her session, I was like, that's where I should have been this whole fucking time. Like, if I could remember to be outside of reality, I may have been okay. Because this experience of reality was excruciating at times. How come I didn't remember to step through the Truman door? How come I stayed here in my squirminess, thinking I needed to experience it or learn from it or evolve it? I don't know. But I sure as shit couldn't, I mean, I'm sure it's evolving. It's the process of it, but. Long wounds. Old wounds. The invitation into truth here, too. I would love to hear from you guys on that, but I know that I spoke truth several times and then I immediately panicked afterwards. And so I'd like speak truth and then I'd have this trauma response where I'd just like kind of like shake and rock. And then I got an email back from a girlfriend because I haven't seen her since February. And when we were supposed to finally see each other, she's like, my girlfriend came into town and surprised me. And I'm like, I don't want to see your fucking girlfriend. I just want to see you. I don't think I said it quite that harshly, but like, I miss my friend. I don't care. Like, yay for your new relationship. I miss my fucking friend. And I'm in a hard place and I need my friend. And as soon as I said that, I went into like little mini tremors. And she and her girlfriend sent me texts telling me how amazing that was and thank you for expressing exactly what I wanted. Yep. Don't fucking care about your girlfriend yet.
Lesbians get it.
Say that again, Ashley.
Lesbians get it.
People doing the work get it. Let me say that, and they are two beings who are doing the work. They're doing the work. I just need to hang out with my friend today. I don't need to hear about how great your sex life is. So, do you guys have any experiences of truth coming out of you in ways that were new?
I can go. I'm having internet issues as well. So, and I actually have to jump off the call because Grayson has a birthday party. But I wanted to share my experience with the throat has always been a little bit, I've had issues. I'm Gemini, so that's part of it. But then I also grew up in a situation where I had to be like really careful with what I said because what I expressed through my words was a survival tactic for me. I grew up in a really abusive home. So I have a really hard time allowing, like, I feel like my consciousness wants to stream out through my words, but I have a really hard time just letting it kind of go. I write a lot, which is a really great way for me to express that. But yeah, if anybody has any suggestions for me on how to kind of get past that blockage from my consciousness to my voice, that would be helpful for me.
It feels like you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely working at it. It's been a long road for me. I feel really comfortable when I'm like one-on-one with somebody and they can understand me really well. But when I'm in a group, it just seems like I get like stopped up and I get blocked unless I know the people really well and I feel already really kind of a part of that group. Then I'm fine. But when it's a group of people that I don't know well for whatever reason, I just can't let myself like flow. And I'm really
That's not for
practicing
what
it. But
I think that's terribly normal. So I'll just say like my experience. Oh yeah, screaming. Fuck yes, I'm screaming.
yeah, oh yeah, I did that in my car the other like couple days ago because I was menstruating and I needed to like release some negative energy. But yeah, that
Um,
definitely is good.
I'll also just add to this, like my experience as a psychic kid was that I spoke truth and
Hmm.
didn't know that it was truth. And then everybody around me would either get mad or tell me I was wrong, which
Hmm.
I think is where a lot of my personal trauma comes from is like, I could see what was true and everybody's like, we don't say that. So I was
Yeah.
seen as like either tactless or as offensive. And that was
Hmm.
people's response to me that I thought made me wrong or bad. Um, I still can't
Yeah.
do it in groups, Michelle.
Yeah, and like growing up empathic and pretty psychic as well. And I grew up in a very like religious home. That was not something that was understood. And so I learned from a really young age to not speak that truth because it was either bad or I was silenced. And so that definitely has followed me through into my adult life. And I'm trying really hard to allow myself to feel my truth and then be able to like share that with other people,
Have
even
you
if it's
done the
hard. So
ehe at all? Has that been a helpful tool?
yeah, yeah, for sure. That has been really helpful.
I was doing it the other day and I realized it was almost like I was clearing the chimney from all the old soot.
That's a great, yeah.
Like I could
Yeah.
just feel it like moving and opening, and then I went and got a massage, and like it's all. But Michelle, I
No,
still don't feel safe doing it. Like it'll. Sorry, Ashley, that's mine.
I was just gonna say, schedule some time with Loren. I had a body code session with her this week, and we got into some of my like deeper wounds that did, I think, also happen to be very throat related.
Hmm.
And I do feel a lot of easement from the things that we talked about, and I really relate with what you're saying about your childhood and how you grew up. My parents weren't like physically abusive, but it was definitely like you have to be, there's like one way to be, and if you're
Hmm.
not that, you're inappropriate,
Yeah. Yep.
you know. And you Catholic household, so is, you know, very narrow definition of what appropriate is, and I'm definitely still working on that. And I have the same thing, like I don't like to speak in groups of people I don't know, who, like, you guys get the weird freaky stuff I'm into. I don't talk about this stuff with my other friends, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
which is whatever. But yeah, so I would recommend some time with Lauren.
Okay, definitely. Thank you so much. And it can be kind of frustrating. I don't know if anybody else has felt this way, but like my internal world is so different than my external world, and I'm able to communicate with self really well, but then like getting that out to other people is really difficult sometimes for me. So
My thoughts will stream so fast that I don't know, like my mouth can't handle how fast my mind is moving and like how many voices I hear at the same time, which just kind of stifles me naturally.
yeah, my internet froze. Sorry, I missed like all of what you just said.
Oh no, I was just saying that I have so many thoughts in my head all the time that sometimes it's hard to get what I mean to say out of my mouth because there's just
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
so many interrupting voices.
Yep. Same here. And that's what I meant about like, I'm really trying to work on just allowing my crown to open and then it going through to my throat so that I can really channel those things through, because I have so much to offer, but I just can't like
And
physically
Michelle,
get it out sometimes.
I'll remind you, we aren't fucking there yet, my love. You don't need to be
Yeah.
channeling from here to here yet. We're still working on like this feeling safe to come up and out.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
And that frustration over an internal reality that doesn't match the external, or that you need to keep parts of this private from others. Frustrating, isolating, yes, which is part of the initiatory process of like, am I safe to be me in all ways, in all cases? And we practice here together, like, oh yeah, bring us all your fucking weird. Like, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
And as we find it with each other, then hopefully it does grow into an external expression too.
Yeah. Thank you guys for letting me share.
Go ahead, Robin. I love you, Michelle. Whenever
Love
you need to
you.
jump off, like, I get it, but yeah, I love you. I miss you.
Love you too.
I don't have many people in my life anymore that I don't just express myself the way I am. But I think my biggest thing is it comes in so fast or in such a way that it's takes me a while to like be able to form it in a way that even when I speak it, I can understand. Like, I'll be like, well, there's no English word for that. Like, what? So that happens to me a lot. It's like, how do I form it so that whoever I'm giving the information to can actually grasp it and understand it?
That's actually something that I learned with Andy when the first time I ever saw Andy, she was speaking to me in such a multidimensional way that I didn't understand it until later. And then things would come up in my life and I'd be like, oh my God, that's what she was talking about. But it could take like months for me to actually like integrate what she was saying. So I think it's not necessarily our responsibility to have the other person understand it. But that is like a hard thing to get past, is like, this person doesn't have to necessarily understand what I'm saying. As long as I'm speaking from my heart, they'll get it eventually or they won't. But that's not like necessarily our responsibility if they get it or not. But I understand like what you're saying. It's, you want people to get it.
Well, and that's communication, right? Like, I want to connect and I want intimacy and
Well, I think it makes us feel really lonely when we have something internally that we can't express externally. When people can't understand it and it's misunderstood, then it's just like that's what I've been dealing with, a lot of that, of just like a lot of the times too, because what I perceive comes in feeling, like I feel the information. It's like it's less solid, it's more elusive, and it makes it harder for me to, like you were saying, like put words to it. Like I don't know how to describe what I'm feeling in my body to you. And the feeling, it's like my feelings, and there's like an internal, like my inner vision and feelings like combined together. So it's like a vision will be formed by feelings, if that makes sense. So it's even like, I can't even give you a logical thing of how this looks. I can only tell you how it feels. And then when I tell you how it feels, it usually comes out in like poetry and similes, and like it's not never, but it's very rarely super direct in terms of like how I process information or how it's coming through. So for me, that's been really hard, because a lot of it is connected to emotions. And yeah, wanting people to like understand your inner world, because like I don't know about you, but I don't want to feel alone in terms of like what I'm experiencing and what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling. And so to be able to express that to somebody and have it communicated to where they understand, it's just like, oh, okay, I'm not alone. But then if they don't understand it, you're like for me, I'm like, cool, well, am I fucking crazy? Like, is there any reason for me to open my mouth and share any of this? Like, is it getting anywhere? It creates misunderstandings at times, and like that gets all hairy. So I
And
completely
judgments.
understand
It
that.
doesn't
Yeah.
just create
Yeah.
misunderstandings. And there's these judgments that people put on you where all of a sudden you're othered whenever you're really seeking like connection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that,
yeah.
and I also feel like I like the people that I really care about, I want them to understand because their life would be so much better if they could understand like what I'm trying to explain to them. And so there's that frustration too, because my husband and I were just talking about this today, that like if people aren't ready for this type of work, they're just not going to get it. And then there's that frustration between people too, because it's like, I want you to understand this so that your life can be better and more fulfilling. But then that kind of makes you, makes me at least feel like I'm looked at like I'm above them, which is not at all what I'm trying to like come across as. So. Anyway.
Yeah, a lot of my, it was funny, I didn't until like last weekend, or actually really Tuesday, I was like, man, nothing's happening in throat. Like I don't really like nothing like big crazy is happening. Like nothing is coming up. Like I feel fine. I feel whatever. And then I went and took a friend to my favorite hike and did mushrooms with them and facilitated a trip for them. And the intention that I set was to like, obviously since we were in throat, was to just like really find and harness like my truth and empower like and my power and my voice and stuff like that. And it's funny because the trip did not go the way I anticipated it, but what came up a lot was that I don't feel safe to speak my truth because of the repercussions that it's had, like my literal whole entire life. Like I grew up in an abusive household too. My father was an alcoholic, got set off very easily, especially when he was drinking. So I had to really be fucking careful about what I said around him out of literal fear of survival. And then even with my family, like on my mom's side, we were all so close whenever we were younger, but the older I got, like one of my aunts genuinely like didn't like me when I was younger for a good chunk of time. And it was because, and like a lot of people said this was because I was a little know-it-all. And I was just like, okay, well, first of all, I probably did know quite a bit, and you probably just didn't want to hear the truth or didn't want to respect the fact that the truth was coming out of like a little child's mouth. But also at the same time, it was just like, it became really painful because not only did I have to be very careful about my words out of survival around my father, my mother's husband, stepdad for a brief time, didn't like me. So I wasn't able to live with her while I was living with an abusive father. So my truth, you know, when I would speak my truth to her, like she knew what was happening, and I would call her and I would be crying at times and tell her what was going on. And it's like those words fell on deaf ears. So it was like, even when I expressed a genuine need, you know, out of this survival, it was like, it was misunderstood, it was taken, or it just wasn't like, it just didn't matter. Like somebody else's experience of reality mattered so much more than my own safety or well-being. I got called a hypochondriac so many times. So like I couldn't even speak to what I was feeling in my body. And then I, you know, experienced being like, I wasn't necessarily bullied per se by children, but I was outcasted by children. I would make friends with people and people would love me for a really short amount of time, and then they would turn against me and they would hate me. And then there would be like ridicule and bullying to some degree, but normally it was just people just didn't talk to me anymore. They just weren't my friends anymore. And as I grew up, that continued to happen, but it kind of continued to get worse because it's like, obviously as you get older, the things that you're trading, right? Like the things that you're talking about, how connected you get with people, how deep you get, like just, you know, the shit that comes up when you're a teen just gets so much more hairy and convoluted because of the hormones and everything, that also, you know, continued to happen then. But then on top of that, I spent 6.5 years of my life holding back a really fucking painful secret that when I was 12, between my 12 and 18 and a half after I got pregnant, it was still like, I still thought this while I got pregnant. I thought that I was a hermaphrodite because I didn't know my cervix was my cervix. I thought it was a tiny dick. And to feel like I literally couldn't ask for help, I couldn't ask for understanding, I couldn't speak my truth. I had to stay in that for so fucking long during one of the most pivotal times in my life that it fucking crushed me, because I literally thought that if I opened my mouth, I would be killed or I would be ridiculed from my family, from society, in a way that went beyond what I had already experienced and around something that I had no control over. Right. And I had so many times of being like, why me? Like, why the fuck was I not born normal? Now, why? And I can't talk about it and all these things. And then when I did start talking about it, I would get laughed at. Even my own mom laughed at me. I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't tell you your cervix was your cervix. Like, sorry. Like, she thought it was a fucking joke, not realizing that I spent almost 8 years in fucking agony, causing suicidal thoughts, like causing all of these things. And it's like, even now when I tell people, like, people sometimes will like look at me in shock, or they'll laugh at me and be like, you're fucking dumb. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like the reactions that I get from people. And like, that's just one example, you know, of a truth or something that would come up. And then you put my work on top of it, and me being so sensitive, me being the reflector, me being able to see people's shit. Like, we had perfect example. We were hiking, and me and my friend had been talking about a lot of this, and we finally get up to the lake and we're walking past people and we're starting to talk to them more because we've finally come down enough to talk to people. And we stop, and this one lady, she's got a bunch of dogs, and we're petting the dogs, and my friend starts talking to her and asking her about her life, and she's telling us about all these amazing things. Like, she's like, everything that I put on my bucket list, I accomplished. I wanted to hike Mount Everest, I did that. I wanted to do this, I did that. And at one point, like, she asked for our stories. I told her that short story, and like the look of her was like, face was like, this is fucking weird. So it was like, I didn't ask for that level of truth. And so there was already, like, you know, some uncomfortableness there. But then the moment that I asked her, after my friend said, you know, Sue, like, you're an amazing fucking woman, like, you're really inspiring and incredible, like, and I said, do you talk about your story? Like, do you share about all these amazing things that you have done? And she was like, oh, no. And I was like, you really should. Like, those are some really incredible stories. Like, that could really like inspire some people. And I am not exaggerating when I say, the moment I said that, this woman literally ran the fuck off. Me being compassionate and loving and being like, girl, you should be proud of everything you accomplished. Like, you should really talk about this. You should share your stories. She literally ran off. She was like, okay, all right, have a good day. And like, her dogs, like her little tiny dogs, like let her pull her off in that direction. And so it's like, I realized, oh fuck, literally at every goddamn turn, no matter what I'm saying, whether it's positive, whether I'm trying to hype somebody up, whether I'm trying to get them, like whether I'm just loving on them or recognizing them, or if I'm having to tell them a hard truth, or I'm telling something about myself, it literally doesn't matter. There's always been some repercussion for me speaking. And so it made me to realize that just like the act of using my voice was so fucking scary, because it didn't matter what I did. The moment these things started working, there was some level of projection or misunderstanding that would happen between people. And it was like, once you say it, you can't take it back. And so it was this like realization of like, oh fuck, like I stay in the observer role so often because I'm scared of making my mark on the world by using my voice. Because if we don't use our voice, we're not really here. Right? It's almost like we're just like a fly on the wall, just watching the world go by. It isn't until the moment we speak that we make our presence known.
I want to play with that a little bit. You've said some really deep things, so I don't mean to dismiss any of it, Destiny. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing and trusting. And it feels like there's almost like a quality in your voice at times that's like repulsive to people when we're seeking connection, right? Like we would do it to draw them closer, and then there's this. But there's this other thing about when we speak, then we give it to time. And then grief begins and suffering begins. So there's this other teaching that kind of comes in. Hey, would you like to get up there? Would you? Yeah, why don't you get in there?
Oh.
There's this other teaching of like, if we don't speak it and hold it in our field, it's just as real, if not more so. And we're not committing it to time, death, loss, and grief.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know where that fits with everything, but like, yeah, communication and connection. Like, have you ever seen this one come in here and do this?
No.
Nope. Just today. Connection, communication. This is what we as being seek here. But thank you, and it'll be interesting because like, can't we even find like through telepathy? Can't we find other ways of doing it? And isn't that maybe some of this higher level of initiations of what we're truly speaking? And something in what you said too, what I wrote down is like we're gaslit from our own truth and our own knowing.
Yeah. And I was gaslit so much growing up, and I actually wrote that down, that like I'm actually like, I've been gaslit so much that one, I question my own truth, right? There's that. But then two, I become afraid of accidentally and unconsciously and unintentionally gaslighting other people.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
what
like,
I'm hearing is you're a reflector, so you're actually holding a mirror up for everyone,
I know,
and they don't want to see anything you're
know.
saying, but you can't help it
I know.
because you're actually. It's almost like their higher self tells you what to say so that they can trigger themselves,
Uh-huh.
but it just puts you in such a like a I don't
Yeah.
know, pain.
That's
Like
it's literally
painful.
what happens in my sessions too. Like it's people will tell me like, oh fuck, like I've already been feeling this, been hearing it, like you're just reiterating to me something that like I haven't been listening to. Or yeah, I say the thing and I see the shock on their face. And so that's my dichotomy, is like, I know that my voice and me speaking and what I see and what I intuit has such fucking power. But that power can go both ways, right? It can get me fucking shot and killed because I said the wrong thing to somebody. And I'm a 3-5, so hello, heretic, like, yeah. And so it's like, it can go both ways. And when you like that instance at the lake was like, it blew my mind, because it was like, I was telling this, I didn't say anything harsh or mean or deep or anything. Like I literally just told this woman like, damn girl, like you should be proud of that. You should share these stories. Like that could really inspire some people.
And she's afraid of her own power.
Yeah, she
It
didn't want
totally triggered her.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cute. She didn't want you to like say, like, you sharing about you, totally fine. Her sharing about her, totally fine. When we like tried to like share about her, she's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Well, also like that's came in for me too. That 5, like the heretic line, we're in the 5th chakra, and I've been seeing a lot of 5s. So there's also something there too, Destiny.
Yeah.
So thank you.
There's
for...
a deep witch wound too.
Hmm.
Like such a deep witch wound of terms of just like knowing that the moment you speak, you put yourself at risk. And maybe that's like, I don't want to put that on everybody, but like I know certainly for all fucking 5th line people, like we definitely have that feeling of just like, when I speak, shit happens and I'm not really in control of the projections. I can tell you my full and honest total fucking truth. I can get so specific and so clear and tell you my truth, and you could still misunderstand me. And that's fucking hard.
I wanted to speak into gaslit for a second because it is now a term that at least most of our society is talking about. My 14-year-old daughter talks about being gaslit all the time and is like calling it out. And then we watched something the other day and she's like, look at that gaslighting. And I'm like, That's not actually gaslighting, love. Should we have a conversation? So it's so cute because they're so aware of like, nope, 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 somebody trying to control them that I'm really cool.
Yeah.
Especially with a narcissistic father, a very good tool for her to have in her toolbox of understanding. And so in this, I just want to say, like, our wounds we're not passing on to our children; they're healing. Praise be the goddess and Sekhmet that maybe we are the last generation that has to feel this level of isolation.
It's really heartbreaking. My heart has been literally hurting so much. Like feels like forget who said it, but somebody said it feels like a dam. And that's the exact words that I used a few days ago. And even on that mushroom ceremony, I could tell. I was like, it's not time. It's not coming out right now because I was facilitating and holding space for that person. But I was like, fuck, my heart hurt so bad because I don't feel a connection with people. I don't feel like I'm a part of this world. Like I don't feel like I can really be here and be me and contribute and love and care and push people and do these things that I was put here to do. Like there's this like deep underlying feeling of just like fucking why, like why would you, like, not really like in that extreme, but it makes it pushed, like for me it's been pushing up against the very fabric of my being and really forcing me to figure out and deal with it and process it and get to the point where I can speak my fucking truth, because it feels like death otherwise. Like it feels like I'm slowly killing myself when I'm not speaking my truth. And that's hard when you care about the world so fucking much and you just want to help people and you just want to connect with people. But language has been twisted and contorted and people rely way too fucking much on it. We don't rely enough on our hearts.
Which is also ours to show them, right? So like the other exercise that we can remember in here is when throat is having a hard time, like drop into heart. I didn't remember that until yesterday, FYI. Drop back the fuck into heart. The other thing that I don't think I'm getting too far away, but like, I have found light language to be super fucking helpful when I need to convey something that can't be conveyed. It changes energy and it moves shit and it makes no sense at all. And like the brain can't process it. But for me, the gift of light language coming on, like light language, it feels like liquid sex coming out of me. It's not a thought. It's not a attempt. It's not like it's just energy behind it. And it moves energy differently when I can't find the words or don't know how to express. So I will just offer that as an invitation. Not that you can find your light language, but if it wants to come on, give it permission to. Because somebody might have left me a voice message with light language the other day that I hadn't heard and I cried. It's vulnerable and it's weird. And yet at the same time, when it comes through, like there's something about it. It's just like, oh yeah, it feels better. Okay. I don't give a fuck if y'all understand it or not, because I don't. I don't know. And I think the gift, I don't know that Robin's here still, but like the gift of having Robin in this group too, like there's a maturity. There's like a place where you really do get to where you're like, yeah, I don't give a fuck anymore. I thought I hit it at 30. I think I hit it at 40. We'll see when I get to 50. But like, the distance and the maturity and the safety of self, I hope, continues to deepen for us.
I heard somebody else say that too today, and
say what?
Or talking about getting to the place where you just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I understand it and I agree in ways, but then on the flip side of it and in the unification of it, it's also equally heartbreaking because yeah, I want to be able to stand in my own and you know, express myself and be who I am unapologetically.
I'm going to stop you right now. You don't know that it's fucking heartbreaking because you're not there yet.
Well, what I'm trying to get at though is that the heartbreaking part is that you can get to that place, yes, but like until it's I can experiencing getting to the place where you are all you need and you understand like that you're connected to everybody else, so you're really never alone, is amazing, and it's one part of it. But on the flip side of it, it's like, but I also do genuinely care about other people, and I am here to be a communal being. Like we are all meant to be communal beings in some way, shape, or form. And so like,
The caring
huh?
doesn't stop. The caring doesn't stop.
Right.
The attachment to their reaction slows down. The caring never stops. It never stops.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's more of just like the heartbreaking part is just like, I know I've lived through 30 years of not being understood. And so you just realize, like, you realize the impact of that. And I've been pretty detached from a lot of it a good amount of the time. But then on the other side of it, it's like, well, I don't want to get too detached, because if I get too detached, I'm going to say fuck the world and fuck everybody. And there's a little bit of like cynicism that kind of comes with that. So it's like this interesting balance of like not dropping into the cynicism with the detachment and still being able to care, and still like, if you're in that place of detachment and you're really you really just like feel good within yourself, like that's great and fine and it's amazing, and I want that for sure. But at the same time, it's like, but what if even then I still am misunderstood? What if even then
And
I
you're putting
don't?
the heartbreak on it in the future, which you haven't experienced, is all that I'm trying to remind you of.
Yeah.
I would love to hear if our crone has anything to say about like deeply caring and not giving a fuck and being able to express. That's you, Robin. That's you.
That's awesome.
And Destiny, I'm not trying to isolate you further here, but I just don't want you to like carry a heartbreak and like build that in whenever we can like maybe clear it of like, you can express, and it's not that we don't give a fuck what they say, it's that I feel safe enough and like I know that I'm coming from love and it's enough.
Yeah, I guess it's more of just like that because I can feel and experience like, and I know for sure, like I'm not gonna like feel alone my entire life. Like I know I will be more easily understood. I will have people, like, things are changing in this world that are kind of like meeting me a little bit more where I'm at, right? Like we're all talking about like, we can't talk to certain people about these things because they're just not there. They're just not going to get it. And so I feel like that's for me where I've been most of my life. So it's been this sobering reality of two possible things of like, I either get to the point where I am more easily understood with people and I can share my truth, and that's beautiful and amazing. That's the fucking what I'm going for. But then the past history and everything, and just understanding that like if humanity doesn't fucking grow in the ways that it needs to grow, the likelihood is that I will still experience some way, shape, or form a good amount of feeling alone in my
But
own
you'll never ever be able
reality.
to control how someone receives your voice, ever, ever, ever. So that is where your work is.
Oh, I know. One of my life's works is also is control, and what I can control and what
And
I
it's
can't.
that duality
Again,
that you just put on it of like, it's this or it's this. Well, hey, we're in throat. We're like, and really like as we get up to third eye.
And we're in Gemini.
And we're in Gemini.
All truths are worth pursuing.
Everything everywhere all at once. Like that's truly our
we
next.
watched that last night.
Ah, it's so good. But like I found the words from Nadia where I don't think it was everything everywhere all at once, but which. Oh yeah, she did say something very close to that. Yeah. Okay, Robin.
Sorry, my mom called, so I did miss part of it.
That's cute.
I had to take her call. She's like 87, right?
The true crone in communication. I just love that.
I did. I can only tell you what it's been like for me. It's not that you get to a point where you actually just don't give a fuck. It's that you get so weary of just not being who you are and holding up that pretense and fitting into that persona that you just quit doing it. But it takes practice to quit doing that. And then all of a sudden you see people accepting you and like delighting in who you are. And you're like, holy shit, why didn't I do this before? That's kind of how it's been for me. But I'm not a reflector. So, you know, you have a completely different experience. I can't imagine being a reflector. I'm a manifester, and that's actually hard enough because I think of something and I just say, oh, I'm going to do this. And I go do it, which gets me in a lot of trouble. Right. But being a reflector, wow, just reflecting back what the world really looks like. God, that's hard.
Especially when the world is in such a
Shit
dark night of the soul, like
chaos. Yeah.
all of the stuff that you're reflecting back to the world is all of their shadows and their hurts and their whatever's, you know, whatever the collective is going through right now, which is a lot.
And you know, Andy has a way to like and she's told me a couple of these instances where in the what seems like the most inappropriate setting, she will say something to somebody. Well, because she has this sense of this person needs to hear this, or I'm supposed to say this in this way. And you are probably the same way. Like they have to hear it. And you have to think of it as like seeds. You know, they may not look like they accept it in the moment, but you planted a seed.
Well, I'll say the other thing too is like I also will say those things when they ask, right? So with clients, they fucking asked and they are like they're asking me to see and blast through what they can't see for themselves, and so I have a little different permission, different in personal spaces where they don't fucking want my opinion because I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's been, I mean, I know you and I actually have talked about this in some of our sessions, but like a perfect example, and I completely get what you say. And it's funny because like in my work, because I am a reflector, I do readings and like I am the reflector in the session. So I'm like, it's not just a reading, it's like their higher self, their spirit guides, everybody is like facilitating, hey, they need to hear this, like this is what they need to do to come into alignment. So within that, I mostly feel okay, although some of that wounding around like not wanting to gaslit people, not wanting to tell them something that might not be true. And that's a hairy line for me because it's like, I do know so much, but then again, I'm not that person. So there's like that, well, how the fuck do I actually know what I'm saying is truth? Right. So then there's always that like level of like, ooh, hopefully this is good. Hopefully this is truth. So there is some of that, but in my personal life, like with what you said, Andy, I had a friend last year who I spoke truth to. And it's funny because I say it's funny, it's actually not funny. The hard thing with me about that fine line of only telling people when they're ready versus not is that like it's within me. And if I'm around that person and I can't speak the truth, then I have to then redirect our relationship and I can't spend as much time around them. And so there's a little bit of a heartbreak there is like, if I can't be fully me in a relationship with somebody, no matter what kind it is, then I can't really have a relationship with them because every single time I'm in their field.
Why would you want to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't want to see you?
No, I know, but it's not even just seeing me, it's also seeing themselves. And so that's where I'm saying it gets really uncomfortable. So you see where my heartbreak then comes in of like, there's people that I genuinely love and want to have in my life.
But you're too triggering for them because they are not self-aware.
Right. And so that then becomes like me just being me can trigger people. Me just literally being in the room, not saying shit can trigger people. So that's where it's like, I'm just trying to help you. I'm just trying to love you. I promise I'm not judging you. I promise there's nothing else here. But that's where that kind of gets hairy of like, then I can't really have a relationship with you. And like, I've had to tell my boyfriend this, like, and 6 years later, he's realized and like not taking shit personally that like, I just can't, I can't not say something. Certainly if it's like, that intense. And like with that friend last year, I had said some things and brought some very concerning things up about her boyfriend and the energy that we were experiencing and how toxic and just kind of like alarming it was. And when I said those things, she ended the friendship.
Yeah, that's not. You can never tell a girlfriend about her boyfriend. No, that's never safe.
And then, yeah, and then online accused me of gaslighting her into believing things that weren't true. So I was like, cool, my biggest fear just came to life. So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't, having to get to this place where I just don't give a fuck and allow whatever happens to happen.
Well,
But
it kind of
hard
sounds
on
like
my heart.
Destiny that you're kind of like a channel, right? So
Yeah.
you're not always controlling these things.
No.
It's like they're just using your reflectorness to like, yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But when that friend used the word gaslight on you, did you see it as an opportunity to like, oh, I really need to work on this shit and heal it in myself? Because she was literally reflecting back to you, your shadow, right?
Well, she was definitely reflecting back my fear, and I
By
definitely
using that word.
Yeah.
She also was
absolutely.
gaslighting herself, and you were trying to.
So that's actually what she said. She said that I caused her to gaslight herself.
Great.
And so I was like what you said, Andy, I was like, that's not gaslighting, but okay. But yeah, it was that like weird thing. So that's why it was just like, it's a hard thing because I genuinely love this girl. I like still to this day want to be friends with her. And it was not but a few weeks ago that online she said that. And so it was like, that's just been my life story of my interactions with people. So I'll stop talking now, but that's so you understand where my weird reflectorness and experience is coming from with all of that.
And bless you for taking on such a challenging gift.
I must be a fucking warrior, huh?
Thanks for sharing. It was really good. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
We are at about the 1 hour mark of at least being here together. So let's get in the Seckers and just practice that energy of knowing how to move from one element to the next. Because all of these elements have been coming together here at Throat. We set Jed a little bit earlier. If you weren't here with us, you can go ahead and do that now. And even playing with that, Jed, of like, how big is it around you today? Is it the size of a spine or is it the size of your entire body? As we come into root. I even like the way root showing up today of like it's earth. Da. 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 Feeling it support you, fill you. Da. 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 Moving up into Ganuso with moo. Knowing that juncture between earth and water. Moo. 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 Moving from water into fire. Ket. Ket. Oh, they want us to drop back down. Let's do a little bit of however your maum sounds. They're saying today just to let yourself dissolve. All perceptions, all wounds. This Maum point, kind of a big deal as we go through Solstice Portal. Ooh, like that. Good, good, good. Dissolve into this diamond truth of who and what you are and let it reset. Good. And then move into fire with Ket. 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 Building those flames. Ket. 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 Moving up into Sa. That juncture between fire, pure light. Sa. Sa. You might also do a Mersef here if there's anything that needs to be transmuted or moved anything that needs to be digested or broken down. That's kind of a sweet spot between that Maum and Mersef, isn't it? Sa. No, it wants to be a myrrh today. Do myrrh there in your heart. Sound of love, myrrh. Myrrh. Mayor it sa. Myrmana. Sa ucha myrmana. Myrrh. 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 And from that pure light, up into air with Nifu. Learning that juncture between that light and air, Nifu. 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 And with that Nifu, letting that that blue orb, that blue disc really come to life. Nifu. Nifu. Ooh, I see that. Nifu. Nifu. We're going to add just a little master level here. Recognizing that blue orb down there that's at the bottom of your Jed, and maybe matching that up to your Nifu as well. Having both of those work in conjunction, the one that is expressing through this world, the one that exists outside of this world. Nifu. Nifu. Syncing those up. Nifu. 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 Good job. And in that place of Nifu, just come into stillness for a second and feel the vastness here. At times it feels like I can turn my head all the way around and see everything. Give permission for that neck to heal. Clear out any kinks. Nifu. To be outside and within reality simultaneously. Nifu. To be only what you are right now with no story, no illusion, no past, no future. Nifu. 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 And deepening the breath. Opening your eyes when you're ready. That felt really clearing to me. In this day of voice, I want to make sure, I don't feel like I've heard from a few of you still, so opening up. Max, can you talk to us a little bit? I like that you're driving and giving us literally Nifu. I like that in this time of Gemini, you're quite literally like moving through time and space. Thanks for this gift of visual that we have, and I'd love to hear your voice too if there's anything to share.
Oh, there's so much to share, and thank everybody else for talking. I had actually missed a little bit of the early mania that had gone away. This new mania is awesome. I don't even know where to go from there. It's wonderful. It's terrible. It's terrifying. The dreams are awesome, but I have no idea how I'm ever going to get to the point where I can change them, because I am barely to the point where I can stop and realize like what time and place and who is with me. And at least I'm trying.
I would say let's take off the expectation that you need to change your dreams. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
There they are. At least I had one.
Congratulations.
What am I supposed to do with the things that I'm not sure that really happened?
You hand them to Mott or Seth. Like you transmute them. There's not much that because in this space, like it didn't happen. It never happened. It's all illusion. And that's not to dismiss the it's thank you. Thank you. That's sweet. It's to release the traumas to that. And I think as you say it, Max, that's what we're blessed with here. We can release the triggers, we can release the stories. Yes, it happened, and we can now step outside of it. Having great compassion for ourselves and for anyone else who might experience that. Is there more you want to say?
Let's say what? What it was?
There's an invitation, not a
So I picked up these 2 crates and they loaded them with a forklift onto the truck. They were supposed to be 120 pounds. They were 120 kilos, which is completely different. There was supposed to be a forklift at the delivery location. There was not. So the first one, I barely got down, just braced my back, couldn't get it. The second one, I couldn't even slide to the edge. I said a cow. I saw it as I pushed it. I picked it up, and I only had to lift it onto the second box. It's not like I had to do the same thing, but just to go from what I did the first time to the second time, it was just like, and then I'm driving off and he's signing my paperwork, and I'm just like, I'm not sure how to deal with this, but I gotta go.
That's some Thoth level shit right there. How do you think they did the pyramids? They did it with sound.
Because that's what I have to do when I deliver giant things to a weird ass warehouse.
Thoth, master of sound, master of acoustics. If you think of sonic and Sothic, we use sound to lift and move things and vibration. So it's what you're tapping into.
They did it. I didn't do it.
Yeah, you don't do anything. And they don't do anything because none of that, like, yeah. Welcome to the paradox. You did it only in so much that you vocalized it. You did it and that you brought it to this world and gave it vibration. And congratulations, magician. Because we do have these experiences that are like, I don't know what did that just, cool, yeah. And then we just start gathering them over time where we just, we expect them instead of being surprised by them. Oh, cool, yeah, I didn't know that could happen. Huh. And it lets reality be so much less fixed. Samna am. Yep, reality's not real. Holy shit. Samna am. And our fixedness and our stuckness and our points of view and perspectives that define reality are now here shifting. Samna am. I don't know shit. Anyone else who wants to share today? Experiences in throat with reality changing.
Hi, friends.
I know, Erin, I haven't heard from you.
I
I'm like,
know there's
how is
an ease in just observing,
okay,
you
fair.
know, so I like, you know, and the throat and the ears. So, you know, so I'm taking it all in. And it's obvious to me now how I know a number of us in this group are in dream school again. And I, you know, as a first timer myself, I can tell just the observation mode and this, you know, opening and dissolving that's going on is, it's sublime. So thank you for creating this experience, because I definitely think about it all day, every day, and work on integrating it all day, every day. And I understand that there's a lot that I don't understand. So, you know, I'm just really appreciating the ease, though. The success in my work, which is technical sales, comes heavily from what I say to a customer, right? And the truth that I tell them, hey, it costs this much. Hey, the price has gone up. Hey, this is back ordered till August. You know, those realities have to be told. And while it's a technical in real life with a time frame, it generates success because it's believable when I say so. And I do work from a point of caring. My clients are, you know, electricians and contractors and people who need to hear this information. So my work isn't, you know, helping others become enlightened, but in working on myself, I'm finding just immense success, just great, good, easy, wonderful blessings within that. And I really appreciate the mindset that we all have, because we watch a lot of, you know, streaming TV, the rabbit hole of disinformation, information, discerning what is truth, you know. And so it's sometimes hard, and my husband and I agree heavily on a lot of things. So I'm very thankful that my beloved is on the same page as me, and that we take a lot of private hikes without cell phones, or we take a bath together and don't, you know, have electronics there, because we just feel like anything doesn't need to hear the things we want to say to each other. In, you know, and some things need not be shared or transmitted, you know, in that fashion. So we have, you know, our, you know, secret bubble that way. And it's great because we're about to celebrate our 12th wedding anniversary. Going on a little vacation to an island off the west coast of Washington. And we're taking a seaplane, so that'll be fun. And never been on a seaplane before. Then on our solstice anniversary, we're going on a Zodiac boat to watch whales. It's a whale tour. And I'm just so stoked about that energy and the chance to celebrate. But we've been working so hard, and just to really, you know, I have really no problems now being away from work, even though I've got that worker bee mentality and the control structure of, you know, the financial successes that need to happen in order to survive and thrive. And I hope you all are doing well and, you know, engaging in the things you need to do to prepare for these, you know, battles that we're fighting on a consistent basis. So I love you all. I don't want to dig up my wounds right now. I've got things in a nice kind of organized fashion, and I'm in a bubble of, you know, expanding outwards so that more healing can happen. And thank you, Michael, because I'm in this patience loop of when, okay, but when, you know, eventually we will be moving back to Colorado and exiting, you know, the military base life, and I really can't wait for that. So, but I have to. So, life is good here, and I do. So I won't be online Wednesday, going out of town for a few days, but those are my thoughts. I guess I
I
would.
also like, Erin, just the way you talked about like the Faraday cage of your relationship and conversations. Like, oh yeah, that's
Well, it's been a rocky road. I mean, 12 years is a long time to know someone, and it's very fair to say we're not the same individuals we were at, any point in time. So I'm grateful for our evolution, because we have really clashed in a few different arenas, he and I, but we're in this very peaceful and loving state these days, which needs fostering. It just really needs that care and respect. So it's lovely. But thank you again. I guess as I'm learning the language or the ways to describe my evolution internally, it's gorgeous, and I'm a generator, so I'm creating my JED and enjoying that aspect. It's not complete, but it will be at some point. And yeah, I think just noticing, we like to watch a lot of ancient history, like the truths that have been covered up, or the things that we're to know about what the civilization built or did, or how they behaved or acted. And it's just sort of, that's maybe a little bit of heartbreak that I feel on that. I mean, the information is there, but it's been told possibly in a different way. And why?
Well, I saw some meme the other day, and they're like, if you think mainstream media is lying to you, you should take a look at history. Like,
thousands of years, the truth has been a problem, and that's just,
and it's coming up. Like, that's the beauty of
interesting.
right now, and the terror of right now is that truth can't be hidden anymore. So I recognize and celebrate that as we're in Throat. And Destiny, thank you again for your role. Like, truth can't be fucking kept anymore, because we've got too many eyeballs on situations, right? Truth can be gaslit. But yeah, Erin, did you ever watch Magical Egypt? Did you watch that documentary series? It's
Magical Egypt, I'm not sure.
Okay,
I mean,
it's-
we've really spent a lot of hours watching a lot of different stuff, but I'll jot that
Egypt
down.
was one that you had to pay for, so it was
Okay, no.
subscription based. I know that Michael and I both went down.
On what platform, do you know? Gaia or something else?
Not even. Like,
Oh.
they kind of did their own thing.
I got mine through Roku.
Okay.
It was like a $20 for a year or something.
Mhm.
Holy shit. Okay, yeah, no.
And I was like, how is there a Roku app for Magical?
That's great.
So random.
Great. I will.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
Roku.
thanks for that.
Yeah, I think Magical Egypt is one you should watch. It's yeah.
Now there's 2 seasons. I only saw the first season because
Me too.
okay.
I mean, because there was only so much we could digest. Like, that was my experience of it. Was like I need to take a couple years in between, like.
And then when you're done with Magical Egypt, then you can listen to the episode of Andy's podcast with Dr. Carmen.
Ah,
Oh my gosh.
Oh, but then you have to watch her
Pyramid Code.
Pyramid Code as well.
And then she's got Atlantis one coming out at some point.
Oh my gosh, let's not even talk about it because I'm too excited.
That's cute. We're in Throat. We talk about everything.
Guys, I can't listen to advertising anymore. Like, if it comes on the radio, I have to turn it off. If it's on the TV, I have to walk away. I am so fucking tired of being lied to all fucking day long.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I just had to say that.
I saw somebody on Instagram, and she was saying too, she's like, I can't watch rom-coms. Like, they're all and I'm like, yeah, I was there a few years.
How do you feel about the gas stations now with all the blaring stuff and the advertisements? I'm like,
mute.
I like just face the sky or like cars. It drives me
They put advertising space on the trash cans at the corners of our streets in our store. So like you literally, they're just put your ad here, advertise your business here on our trash can. Okay.
It's garbage.
Well,
It's because I'm not in New
Very
York City
trashy.
anymore. Like, because New York City's like that. It's on everything. And so maybe now it's like I'm noticing it less or more because I don't know, not as inundated as I was.
Yeah, my favorite thing that Andy has said, and it holds true for anybody, is I don't know that I believe that anymore.
No.
But it comes up a lot.
Well, and especially when you have advertising in that way, because as you guys are talking about it, I'm like, oh, cool. The fact that none of us are taking advertising so seriously also means that marketing is almost done, which is kind of good for like businesses like ours, because like marketing never really
Like,
worked as a model.
How is marketing okay? Sorry.
Don Draper
That's like
said so.
reality's
It's not.
broken. Like that whole like what
Yeah.
is real anymore? Yeah.
No, it's Don Draper. Yeah, like that fucked it all up. Oh, yeah.
Well, it's
Shiny.
quite perfect. It's quite perfect that we're talking about this today, because for anybody who knows human design, the gates 12 and 11 are in the sun and earth right now, which is all about how reality is twisted into fitting into a false narrative, or basically just like reality being obscured, you being able to see the purity of reality, the true light within reality, or how it's manipulated through sound and literal light. So
Yep.
I
Well, that's
also-
all throat, right? Like it's how they've controlled our senses and our ability. Sorry, Mimi. No, get in here. I've been waiting for you all day. I sent Mimi a message. I'm like, hey, we are here now, because I wasn't for a long time.
I was also going to say that I don't know if I'm going to insult any sports fans, but the sports, even just the sports commentary, first of all, sports are like literally mind numbing to me to watch, you know, like if you're like you're participating in it and you see the energy, it's one thing, but when you watch it on TV, I'm just like, shut them up. Like I can't listen to a word of it. Like it can be on the TV as long as it's muted, but that is the ultimate for me, because
Sports is all conditioning training for me. It's like you were conditioned to like this team because your dad likes this team, because you live in this
100%.
thing, and then you're gonna fight these people because they like let's get distracted so we can all get controlled. Sorry.
And I just watch everyone be so fucking distracted over a ball and a person. And I'm like, you care about that, but you can't pick up that fucking piece of trash you dropped and you watched yourself drop it?
And they've got any problem with homophobia when we've just got men in tight pants who are like staring at each other's asses? Like, come on, get over yourselves. Jesus Christ.
I miss the short shorts from the 70s in basketball, just saying.
Yeah, we can bring that back.
It's the best part of soccer.
Oh goodness. I also will say, like, as the only one who rules this domain, there's no sport. I don't. Yeah, no, that's a qualification for beloved. Like, you do not play sports or video. Like, don't watch.
And it's also like, okay, my sports are like, how high did my tomato plant grow today? Or, you know what I mean? Like, that is interesting to me. Like, watching things grow is amazing.
Can we talk about competition for 1 second? Because hello, Iron Chef is back on Netflix. I don't know if anybody else is an Iron Chef fan, but like last night, Michael Maddie, I was with Courtney last night, and then I'm like, I need to go home now and binge Iron Chef. Like, I know where Michael and I met because of Courtney, and Courtney's now doing our magical work too, which is pretty good. And she's like, so where can I learn more about the Egyptian chakras? Is there a book? And I'm like, cute.
She's a one line in human design. So.
I don't know what that means. What's one line?
She's an investigator, so that's why she wants a book. She wants to like go sit in a hole somewhere with her book and memorize it, and then come out and pretend like she feels like
she wants
an authority.
all the information. She wants all of it. Give it all to her.
Like if you could download it into her brain, that would be ideal.
But I will share a little bit. I don't really know where I'm going to go with it, but when we first started, it felt really good. The movement, right before we went on the call, I was like, I need a movement, because I've been doing so many different movements and Kundalini and trying to like resolve a neck pain issue from sleeping. I like clench my whole arm and it goes up my neck, and I haven't slept on this arm in months. And there was a lot of movement from it immediately, like after. And I watched it kind of like dissolve. And I also watched it like move into a space where it's never been. And I realized like it was a pooling energy. My dad has it, holds his tension right there. And I made the connection when it moved into there. And I was like, okay. And I know I hold a lot of my family's stuff. I just always have. So I've been working on moving through that too. But really kind of breaking down my inability to like create. I have been like putting these roadblocks in my way, like literal shit in my studio. Like it's cluttered right now, but just like so many projects, all these things. And I'm like really just like focusing on which ones need to get addressed. But before, where it used to shut me down, I'm able to kind of go in and be like, all right, I'm going to do some stuff now. Like, I'm not going to just sit here and decay. Like, even if I'm not going to create anything. The other day, I cleaned my whole studio, and my uncle asked me to do some paintings for him. And I started drawing them. And I was like, I really wanted to do 2. Because he's going to give of mushrooms, so forage mushrooms, to the guy who taught him how to forage. And I want to make 2 of them, separate ones, to give him. And I like created, like I always just keep creating these stories in my head, but I can't fucking do it. I don't want to reach that plateau of that goal. Like I'm like 3/4 of the way there. I'm almost finished, next. And so I'm just trying to like keep focusing, and through this like throat and movement of like, no, like you can take the time to do this, because I was always concerned with what everyone else was doing. And fortunately, I've had the last couple, since I've been back from Hawaii, off. So since March, and I don't think I could have done it with working, like any of it. I've been doing so much work, and I can't listen to podcasts. Like I can't listen to anything like that. I can't, it's like impossible for me right now. And I've just been in my own head, and like moving through my stories and like sifting them. And I went to this amazing Kundalini the other day, and she's just like, you have 13 seconds to change whatever story, like whatever thought comes in. If you don't change it in 13 seconds, you're gonna like go. So I've been really focusing on that and like redirecting that monkey mind, like severely. Definitely been seeing it. And I've noticed that since I've been doing, in the last week, I've been manifesting things a lot quicker. Like things will just get done quicker, or I'll be like, in my head, I'll be like, oh, I need this. And then in the couple hours it's there. And it's been pretty amazing to witness that, like effortless ease, because I'm like not confining myself to all those old programs of being like whatever bullshit someone fucking told you. I've also been really clear on like trying to convey what I need to say, and really getting there. Whereas before I would still hide because I would see how the person is feeling. And then I would like, I'm not a reflector, but I feel so much that I can like go in, and I know that I shift myself to like meet that person, so much so that I take away from myself. And I've been noticing like, I'm not going to do that anymore. Like it's really like, if I lose that friendship, I lose that friendship, because I can't like hold back who I am.
Cancer powers activate.
Yeah. I'm excited for cancer season. I'm like, come on, baby, it's time. I just want to be at the ocean every day. And Erin, you are gonna see so many fucking whales. I'm so fucking excited for you. You're gonna see them. They're gonna be jumping. It's gonna be magical, magical. I'm so happy for you. I saw on the 6-6 portal, I went to the beach and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna swim. Get there, swimming right away, get out, hang out with one of my friends who's visiting from London, and Sean was with me. At the end of the day, I look up and I see, we probably saw hundreds of dolphins. And they're like, yeah, buddy, we've been listening. Because when I call in the water, I always call the whales and the dolphins. And they're like, yeah, we've always been here, honey. We're just fucking swimming together. But it was like rare to see that many at this time. Like, and you see one, there's like 10 or 20 or whatever they say underneath. We saw tons of them. So you're going to see so many whales. So excited.
I love, Mimi, that you had to point out that through this expression, there's also creation. That somehow hit me as an aha of like, oh yeah, I guess that is what's going on here. And I may have told you guys, but like the 9 of Swords was a big teacher for me on that of like, am I going to point the swords and daggers toward myself as a Cancer and like let everybody else influence? Or do I point those swords out there and I'm like, I know who the fuck I am. Like, let me show up in that. And that action is a very conscious action that I have to like set up before I leave the house or else.
That's pretty much what I've been doing too. Like, I'm sick of feeling everyone else's shit onto me. Like, I don't like cleaning the windows, you know, the screens, you know, fanning them out, getting them out there. Like, I'm sick of feeling like I need to lessen myself and be less of myself so that I can make someone else feel better. Not that I don't want to make them feel bad, but it's not my responsibility.
No, it's their shit that they don't want to feel, so we feel it for them, and we learned as children that either got us love or like, nope. You can feel your own shit instead of me doing it by proxy for you. Nope.
Totally done with that.
Will you share the mushrooms with us when you're done painting them?
Oh yeah.
Right.
I have just,
You're already done?
No,
Okay.
I just have drawings, but I'm like, can you even see it?
So Mimi, can I share something about your design?
Fuck yes.
It sounds like you're really coming to terms with having a completely open emotional center.
Wait, which one's the emotional center?
Solar plexus?
Okay,
I think, are you an emotional
Hold on. Thanks,
vector?
Ashley. Hold on.
Nope, it's a gray one.
Okay, great. Thanks. Ashley, and I love
Yeah,
you because it's right there. I'm like,
it literally means Mimi's design is that she feels everyone else's emotions.
And I've got this open, I've got my root open, and I think one other one. So I feel like you come in and I'm like, I just get all fucking frazzled. Thanks, Michael Manny, for helping me understand so much about myself that I didn't realize. No, seriously, don't be. And I actually told one of my friends about you. She's gonna connect with you soon.
I'll also point out here that Destiny does human design readings as well, and I have not gotten one of Destiny's readings. So.
Destiny and I have been chatting now that we know we're both into it.
Ashleen, you're the only one, and I've never heard a Leo stay quiet for this long.
I know every time I go to unmute, somebody else begins. So I've just been, again, observing and enjoying everyone else's shares. Throat's been tricky for me too. Starting in our bonus heart week, my kids got sick with like some sort of throat nose thing. And then once by the time they got better, Adam and I caught it. And then we've also just been dealing with like our regular change of the season allergies that we get in the spring. So it's just been lots of like, just phlegm everywhere. And even it was funny though, because the day after I did the throat initiation, which I think was just Wednesday, my throat hurt. I woke up the next morning and my throat hurt. And I was like, that's weird. I did this thing. And I even told him, I was like, my throat hurts. And he was like, you've been sick for 2 weeks. I said, I know, but my throat also hurts after I did this thing. And anyway, so we've just kind of been going through all of that and dealing with boogers, a lot of boogers. But I have been vocal toning, I guess is what it is. But just like not really singing, but just like letting sounds come out of my throat the last week. Actually, it's been a while. It'll come out sometimes. And that's been kind of fun. I mean, there's nothing like specific to report from it. It just feels like a really amazing way to clear things. Mm-hmm. And even when we were just doing our JED setting, 20 minutes ago, I was doing some vocal toning with my mic off over here. So hopefully that helped to clear for everyone else. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like just in general in my life right now, I'm in this waiting room energy, this whole patience thing where like all of these things are supposed to be happening, but not all the pieces are together yet to make it actually happen. So I'm just trying to, I don't know, enjoy where I am here, slow down a little bit. We're still behind on chores and stuff from everybody being sick, but I was just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna clean the dishes and that's about as far as we can go right now. So.
Can I just say toning never even fucking crossed my mind. Thank you, brilliant one. That is a great tool.
You're welcome.
Is it like a specific, is there something specific that you're doing to toning? Because I'm actually reading it's like a Pleiadian channeled book and they talk about toning in there and how important it is and how powerful it is, but it doesn't give like a process and I haven't looked at any like YouTube videos on it yet. So is there something specific that you're doing?
So not really anything specific. The gal who's teaching my Flying Rainbow Lasagna class did a vocal toning workshop. Just kind of coincidentally a couple weeks ago. I know. And so I just kind of watched her as she was toning and it was like 45 minutes of her toning. And then I just kind of understood what to do after that. And so I do a lot with the hekaus now, like Nifu is an awesome, you just kind of sing it and see where it goes. I hear a lot of like Native American toning when I do it, just like you hear the birds in your voice or the different animals. I really go as far as my range can go. I go as low as I can go and I go as high as I can go.
We'll learn best by example, right?
I know, but I get nervous.
I was going to say, show us, please.
Okay.
You want us to close our eyes?
I mean, I'll turn off my camera and then I won't look at myself and then that'll be better. Okay. Okay, I'll just do some Nifu. Okay. Nifu. All right, there you go.
That was so good. I got chills, girl. That was so good.
I would have never.
This is part of my like deep throat wounds that came up for me during throat is just being seen for my creativity, which was not something that I was like. It was celebrated in my house, but not as something that you could be successful at. So.
You also said deep throat, and nobody giggled as much as I did. So.
So I just have a question. Did you guys talk about it before I was on? When we did the initiation, as soon as she started saying, Auntie started saying, you're gonna hear stuff differently. I forgot to talk about this. Is that as soon as she said that, I noticed that the way that I journeyed was completely different that time. Like I went into Inner Earth in a different way that I had been. And they were kind of like, yeah, see, it's a different way. And it was almost like a new pathway I could see that I hadn't seen before. And then she was talking about the throat. And as soon as she said throat, I was like, throat, ears, and nose. Ear, nose, and throat. Like when you go to the doctor, ear, nose, and throat doctor. Because I was like hearing stuff differently. Whatever was coming through, I could hear it differently. I could see it differently. I could feel it differently since last Wednesday. That's all I got.
I'm going
Also, Andy, I don't know why I listened to the recording and you said something about sound issues, but like
the video wasn't working at the beginning of.
Oh, okay. It didn't even. I did it in the bath.
Oh yeah, no, and that was the beauty of it, right? Like,
and then you were like, "We're gonna do some physical exercise. Someone to sit up in the bath for a little minute."
Yeah. No, the video wasn't.
Yeah, and then, but so it was funny because I was like expecting there to be sound issues, and then there were all these birds chirping when you were talking. Was that like a soundtrack you were using?
Yep.
Oh, okay. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was lovely.
For air, that's what wanted to come in, was like this other, like, yeah, that was it.
Okay, cool. Because like I got all of that. Okay, great. I was like, did she put these birds in?
I did.
Are these birds real?
The other thing I'll add here, because I didn't realize it until you guys were talking, was I obviously had long-term COVID issues that I had no clue about, because my sense of smell has changed in the last 2 weeks. And I even talked to Lorraine about it at one point, where I'm like, not that my sense of smell went away. I was smelling like metallic and everything, and I thought it was me. And I realized that had been going on since February, and now it's gone. And I'm like, well, damn, huh? Which also means that I had COVID at some point in time that I did not know about, which is also revelatory. And
I want to just jump in and say that before COVID, I've lost my sense of smell and taste many times for weeks on end. So it doesn't always have to be COVID related.
Yep.
So,
okay.
Because I also want to, one of my friends who had it really bad after she had COVID, where she couldn't taste, or she ate lemons. She's like, I just ate lemons. And she goes, and I finally tasted something. And then she goes, I just ate lemons like every day for like a week. Like, you know, like before she ate something, and she was like, and then a couple days later it was fine. So
yeah, it was funny. It didn't take away anything. It just added this like note to it all that I didn't recognize was a note until it was gone. And I'm like, oh, huh. Happy that I don't smell like copper, which is what I thought was going on for a long time, and that there was something else happening. Cool. I remember I had a session where I was crying with Lorraine, and I'm like, who's going to be attracted to the pheromones that smell like metallic shit? And she's like, you never know what somebody's going to be attracted. You know, I went there.
It's almost like, yeah, I'm getting blood, right?
Well, and that's what I thought too. And I'm like, okay, so my blood, like, you know, we're all
yeah.
My blood, yeah, it's. I'm becoming more octopus inside, apparently, and less human. And I'm like, okay.
What happened with me is I lost taste and smell too. Smell for the longest. And the first thing that happened was just me realizing like how fucking important those senses are for our experience on Earth. Like I cried in grief out of just the thought of what would happen if I never got to smell my mountains and my pine trees ever again. Like that was like, it woke me up to like, oh fuck, like these senses I'm so grateful for. But then after it all came back, my sense of smell and taste increased to where like some things that I used to be able to eat before I couldn't eat anymore, like bell peppers, I was like tasting this like weird, almost like metallic taste in certain foods. Like bell peppers were one of the big ones. There was a few other things too, but like I started to be able to, like my taste increased where I was able to like taste things that I wasn't able to taste. So, I mean, hello, we're in a world that's full of fucking heavy metals. So it's quite possible that you were just literally tasting and tapping into what was actually circulating through your body and or the food. But it definitely increased my senses after I had that, and then it came back.
Even if you buy organic produce and if it crosses a state line, they still have to spray it. So it could be copper and stuff like that on top of your food. So just be aware of that too, because it could be the actual food itself and you being so susceptible that you can taste it.
Speaking of people who can't smell, I'm just going to drop in some random trivia in case you ever need it. Michael Hutchins of INXS, right? Like super hot Michael Hutchins, hello, who he lost his sense of smell, and it was one of the reasons that they say he either died or was doing sexual asphyxiation, because he was trying to heighten his senses because his loss of smell like almost destroyed him as one who is like so essential of this world. So there's your rando facto for today. Michael Hutchins, love you. Oh. Little sensitive.
I was say, was he a Taurus or Earth? Because I'm a Taurus, and so I was like, "Fuck! If my senses go, I'm done."
I don't know. He was sexy as fuck, though, wasn't he? Thanks. One big thing that I'd like you guys to be aware of, and I'll send a message out. June 23rd is the celebration of our mystery school. June 23rd has always been the date that this lineage is celebrated and honored. We'll also be getting into the birthdays of Isis and Nephthys here in the month of June, so no big surprise with that. But like it's very much in this Cancery season that we're right here. So maybe light a candle. I now have a crystal skull who's on duty for the lineage, so that's new, where all of a sudden he's like, hello. He's acting as guardian for us, so yeah, he and Nadia have been working together.
So what is the significance of the 23rd then? Just
I don't have more than that, except
okay.
It's the birthday, it's the celebration of. I'll see if I can find more, but we're in it. Toning, Jesus Christ, Ashley, thanks. And again, the blessing of being with you in this way, that we learn from each other. We stabilize it for each other. We have a couple of people who did start late in Dream School. They've been catching up, and I got a message from one of them last week because I'm like, hey, how are you? I haven't seen you like on the lives, checking in where you're at. And her response was like, I love watching you guys in Integration Nation. She's like, I feel like you're my best friends, and I've never even talked with you guys. Yeah, we're in something pretty spectacular together. And Robin said to me the other day something about it being subtle, and I was like, Jesus Christ, it's subtle. My experience is not subtle. And I celebrate that I get to have these experiences with you, which is exactly what I wanted, right? I don't want to be teaching something just from like this. I'm in it. I wouldn't know another way. Thanks for letting it be safe for all of us to experience and grow and learn together, and none of us has to know anything more than anyone else. Pretty cool. Hey, Max, keep your eyes open while driving, baby. You look so like cozy over there. Just like, don't drift off. With 250 kilos in your load. Sorry, Michael. Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, so June 23rd, and I guess we'll be doing is ours the 22nd that we're gathering, so we'll talk about it again and maybe do something for that. But you guys are on break officially for a couple of days. I'm sure Third Eye will start coming in. I'll be sitting with it tonight.
I already had something come in for Third Eye.
Oh yeah, please. Mm-hmm.
So, especially with human design, when you think about like the two binary consciousnesses, I've been thinking about how like when we're in throat, the senses are here, right? Because they're now, so we're seeing with our eyes. But as we move into the third eye, our perspective changes from the driver to the bird's eye view. So it's just a different, I don't know, that's what was coming in for me. Yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. So we're going to do that.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see where they want to go with it, because again, like I don't even get the downloads until right before sometimes. Throat was different. Throat was really ready to go when it came. I don't know what's coming through for third eye, except that I'm sitting there and we'll find out together. So hope to see you on Wednesday. I love you.